You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. Ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best show us some respect. 3-point threat, I better make it rain. If it's up, then don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumper where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, Big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the ref just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostep. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly die, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever.
Yeah, you know, we playing against a good team, and at the same time, fatigue was definitely a part of it. But it's experience. A lot of these guys haven't had an opportunity to experience, a back-to-back against two really good opponents, and it's a difficult loss. I thought the guys tried to go out there and especially in the first half, but game got away from us in the second.
Yeah, Alfred did it again. He had the rare rebound assist double-double, just continues to produce in the amount of time that he's out on the court.
No, yeah, EP has been he's been really good for us of late.
Hey, how tough is it for you to just have to sit through a game like that, though?
It's challenging. It's for sure. It's tough. You feel for your guys. They're out there fighting, and we're undermanned. But at the same time, you got to be able to go through some adversity, and it builds you. It makes you stronger for what's to come.
Was that kind of your message to the team after the game?
Not tonight. No message tonight. Just bring it in, and day off tomorrow, and then we'll get back together Sunday.
And just going through as much as y'all have gone through this year, you talk a lot about, just kind of learning from this adversity, kind of building on stuff like this. I guess, what can you kind of take away big picture from this season, just what you've seen with this group and just everything that they've been through? I guess, what are some of your takeaways as a head coach just going through this experience?
Well, I want to hold my my total thoughts on the season until we finish. Right now, just coming off a fresh loss, I can talk about that. But as a whole, I'll hold tight and have some comments about that once we finish up the season.
I know you have nothing but respect for Coach Bolster, but do you feel any kind of way about the way that the second half unfolded, the way Miami kind of, like, once the game was in control, and just, do you feel like they maybe ran up the score a bit or things like that, just took advantage, so to speak, of the situation? I understand it's competitive and you got to play all 48 minutes, but do you feel like this game was played the right way?
Absolutely. And if it was me, I'd do the same thing to him. And I have my group. You teach all your players to play as hard as they can and compete as hard as they can until there's no more time left on the clock. And unfortunately, sometimes, we're on the losing hand of it. Sometimes we're on the winning hand of it. But I have no issue with guys going out that haven't been played. He put his second, third unit in, and they just continue to play hard. So I got no problems with that at all.
Coach, what do you want to get out of the final game of the season?
Continue to build on good habits with our young guys. Continue to go out and compete, play hard, play together. All right, thanks.
All right, big ups to the fan. Appreciate y'all for being on the live stream. That clap is for y'all, and not the goofy-ass Pelicans. Well, obviously, are attempting to tank, and they're doing a pretty good job of doing that. But not so good, Pels. Try to at least care about basketball a little bit. Pelicans incinerated by the Heat tonight. 153 to 104 keeps pace in the NBA lottery. And which is basically what this bout, the tankathon, as we know. Pelicans just it's just I have to tell you, man, I don't know what to say sometimes. But I know the Pelicans have a lot early in the game. They were doing pretty good in the first half of the game, but just like we've seen, even when they were healthy, it was this thing where they would lose focus in games, especially in the second half, or at least one quarter of the game. Maybe a third quarter or fourth quarter. They just have a mental lapse. Things just go awry. But we do understand the Pelicans are definitely setting themselves up for the tankathon, and they're doing a splendid job of it. Maybe not as much as we would like to see, because this is not really good looking basketball. It's pretty rough. But nonetheless, man, shout out to you guys for being here. That clap was for you guys. Shout out to everybody. Big Smoke, Jaden, Slim. Who else we got in the chat? Pelicans, Nola, Carlito. Shout out to you, Maul and Maul. This season, right? And Molly says this nightmare of us is almost over. Yeah, this was a horrible, trifling season, and we just want it to be done and moves to be made at the end of the season. Willie Green is one of those moves a lot of people want to see happen. But as you see, the tankathon numbers is on the screen right here. Washington, Utah, Charlotte, and New Orleans are entrenched in that fourth spot right there. They're not going to catch Charlotte. With a couple of games left to go in the season. Perhaps they do. I don't know. But one game left. I'm going to have to check Charlotte's schedule to see where they are. But they seem entrenched at the fourth spot, which is a good place to be when you're in the lottery, because usually those teams will end up with an opportunity to get at least 2 or 3 of the top players, one of the top players in the draft. Now, utilizing them into a very competent system, that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother season. But anyway, we back to this. So Big Q in the building, DC, please feel free to hit the like button. DC, how you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It's watermelon season again, man. Got me some watermelons today, Q. And I looked at the game, run a little late, get to the house. I was like, oh, let me go sit down and actually try to watch some Pelicans basketball so I can, get a people intelligent analysis of what I seen. And I was really late. And when I held the score up to my eyes, it was like 61-97. I said, what the hell is going on? The Pelicans had 7 points in the third quarter. I said, God damn.
DC, they trying to tank, brother. That's what they're telling me. And that's what it is, man. They're doing a good job of it, don't you think?
Hell no.
The tanking is working.
Pull up the draft simulator. You just had it out there. Get Willie face off, and I don't want to hear him. You gonna wait till after the season's over to give my man the season over. What the fuck is you talking about? We got one more game, and I'll give my takes. Man,
he wasn't very angry, DC, for this game. Just being honest with you, he didn't seem very angry, upset. Well, it's just going through the motions like many of us are going through, right?
Yeah, but we've actually failed at tanking in some capacity. Maybe the NBA will put a magnet on one of our lottery balls or something, and they make them wear a glove or something, and we get a special one. But we had a chance to be in that 14% up there, Q.
Yes.
And we had some timely wins that were unnecessary. A little further back in the season, that took us out of the running for that. So now we got to watch Charlotte be a spot ahead of us there, and they also have our second round draft pick. So Charlotte just shitting all on us, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, all of this is just a simulator, so we don't know who actually gets what pick. I mean, 12.5% versus 14%. That is a 1.5% can be a lot, you know what I'm saying? But we got to see it play out. But I would say we didn't tank as well as we should. And in my opinion, I think we should be where Charlotte was at. I didn't expect to beat Washington or Utah, though. They leaned all the way into it. Pels weren't doing that. So what they're doing now, where they playing these G League guys, we probably should have did that maybe about 10 games ago, bro.
Well, that's what I was saying about the strategy of what's going on, and they continue to just do what they do. And like I said, I just think it's a lot of it was incompetence. I think a lot of it was just they got a lot. David Griffin. This is just it's not they. It's David Griffin. A lot of this has to fall on him. And the Hornets have one game left, DC, and they're gonna lose that game too. They got Boston on Sunday at 12. So that's going to be a loss, and they'll be finishing more than likely at 19.
They might win it just to tease us.
It won't work anything in our benefit.
It won't matter. That's what I'm saying. It won't matter if they win that game. It won't matter.
No, it won't matter.
We still can't jump them, so
no,
it won't matter either way.
Right. They got one. We got one, and it's Boston. We have OKC. So it's basically.
It is what it is. Everybody's locked in their positions at this point. We just gotta wait for the actual ping pong balls to get the rolling to see what's up.
Right. All right. Let's delve into these stats brought to you by Bam Adebayo. And the Miami Heat, who incinerated the Pelicans tonight, just turned it on in a major capacity and just wiped the Pels out in the matchup. Pelicans were 38 of 95 for 40%, 14 of 37 for almost 38% from downtown, and 14 of 20 from the foul line. The Heat was 58 of 104 for almost 56%. They were 20 of 45 for 44.4 and 17 of 22 from the field. I mean, from the free throw line for 77.3. They being the Heat had 60 rebounds versus the Pelicans 42 tonight. 36 assists versus 27 by the Pelicans, 12-6 on the steals. Heat wave 5-2 on the blocks. He even kept the turnovers down. 9 turnovers, 10 points given up off those. Pels had 15 turnovers, giving up 20 points. Fast break points was at Heat advantage, 29-17. Points in the paint was an evisceration, 70-46 in the matchup for the Pels tonight. Pelicans never had the lead, and they, as you can see, Heat has as much as a 52-point lead on the Pelicans at some point during the contest, and they beat them tonight by 49 points. So it is just one of those things. Now, moving over to the individual statistics in the matchup, Jamal Cain, he was the bright spot tonight by the Pelicans, 25 points in 35 minutes. He was 4 of 7 from downtown, 8 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, 25.7 boards, 3 assists for Jamal Cain, 19 from Antonio Reeves in 34 minutes of action, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. He finished with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for him. 3 14-point scores for the Pels. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl in 33 minutes finished with 14.7 rebounds. Keon Brooks Jr. had 14 points, 3 boards in 36 minutes, 14 from Jose Alvarado in 23 minutes. He finished with 14 points, 0 assists, and 3 rebounds for Jose. In the matchup, 9 from Lester Quinones in 29 minutes of action. He finished 9 points, 3 assists in the steal. 5 from Kyler Kelly. The new Pel got an opportunity to play 21 minutes. He finished with 5 points and 6 rebounds, a steal and an assist for him. 4 from Elfrid Payton, but Elfrid also had a double-double with assists and rebounds. So he had 4 points, 13 assists, and 10 rebounds for Elfrid Payton, who kind of, that's like a bright spot as far as we talk about with Elfrid Payton. Just to talk about him, as Pelicans did sign him to a 2-year deal.
Okay,
this is according to CNC.
That's great news. That is great.
Yeah, that is. After being out the NBA for 2 years, Payton returned to his hometown, had a career high 21 assists in November, and has, according to his agent, the Pels have signed Elfrid Payton to a 2-year agreement. So that is
that deserves a hand clap, man. That is definitely they got it right. Man. Congratulations to Alfred Payton, man. Looking forward to see. I think he's gonna look a lot better next year. Being around the team, actually going through training camp, being here for the full duration of things. You've always seen, bright spots from him. I mean, he's been one of the lone bright spots. Him, Carlo, and Antonio Reeves to end out the season. So shout out to him. Glad the Pels finally got one thing right, because we've constantly needed point guards. And for the life of us, we couldn't understand why y'all cut him to begin with. during the season, I guess he probably would have got us more wins than we would have wanted to, especially when we had a lot more guys healthy. So maybe that was the reason they cut him. I don't know. I didn't understand it, but glad they got it right. He'll be here for 2 years. Um, him and Zion and Trey can build some chemistry in the offseason along with the rest of the team. And we can see where that goes, man, because we're definitely going to need a reserve point guard. Just having Jose Alvarado isn't enough. DeJounte Murray is still hurt. We don't know who we drafting. We don't know what free agents we getting. So them at least locking up Alfred Payton does a whole world of good for next year.
Yeah, and also it's and this is well said, DC, because that he we've been saying it. Alfred Payton, when he did the 21 assists early in the season, he was playing his ass off helping the Pelicans.
And 2 weeks later, he got cut.
He got cut, and personnel decisions is not the invisible general manager. Whatever his face is, I forgot his face. He doesn't need to be even much mentioned because he doesn't do anything of relevance. It's just all David Griffin making these weird decisions. But at the end of the day, this one, it does get a hand clap because it's the right decision. The guy plays his ass off. He deserves to have a contract to be brought back. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So glad to have Alfred Payton back, man, with his size and his ability to play defense and facilitate the ball. If we have issues with anybody else, he can be able to come in there and steady it up or whatever we need to do. DeJounte Murray and all this. We just need to make sure we take care of a few things going into the offseason on the other side. And whatever those moves are, just be on the lookout for that, fam, because the last game is going to be on Sunday. And it's going to be a 2:30 tip-off time. And guess what? We will be doing that game live, the season finale game. We also will be taking calls for the game. So if you guys want to chime in after the game as well to be heard on PPR in the season finale, man, let's do it big. Let's hear from you guys and hear decisions and, your comments on how you feel about the Pelicans and what needs to happen. And how about a strategy to give the Pelicans? Tell them what to do, what needs to happen, man, to turn this around, man, because people are tired. DC, let's pivot into the next matchup, bro, unless you got something to add.
What's up, Lex? What's happening?
What's up, Lex? Shout out to my girl, Lex.
In the building. Glad to have you tonight. Man, we go ahead and move forward.
Okay, well, the next matchup.
Move on forward. Cover this next matchup, and then we can get to whatever topics everybody really want to talk about. We doing a call-in show tonight?
Nah, that'll be tomorrow. About Sunday.
Lex says, "Where's the link, Big Q?" So
okay,
I'll handle it.
I got you. Go ahead and comment on it, DC. The OKC matchup coming up.
Okay, so we got the OKC matchup coming up, and it's brought to you by the illustrious matchup indicator that has OKC at, damn, this shit is just increasing every game, right? 89.3% probability for them to win. Nobody's surprised by this. This is pretty much what we expect. OKC is led by none other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I wonder if they're gonna give him the MVP this year. I don't know. Between him,
I think it's.
Yeah, because he was pretty close last year too. They might just give it to him, even though if they gave it to Luka again, man, you can't really be mad. But they also led by Hartenstein, 10 rebounds for him, and Shea leads them in assists. And everybody who's leading for the Pels won't be playing. So pretty much it's going to be a wash. This last game of the season, pretty sure OKC is probably going to play a lot of their second unit guys, but their second and third unit guys is better than what we are going to have out there. And two teams really ain't playing for nothing. One team is 66-14. The other team is 21-60. It's like the records are in reverse. You know what I'm saying? So what more can we really say about OKC and the Pelicans? What are you expecting to get out of this game? Does anybody see a upset incoming? Because I sure in hell don't.
Hey, man, don't even ask me that shit.
Does anybody see a competitive game coming? Because I don't see that either.
Do you see a 66-win team that are 30-8 on the road versus the Pelicans, and the Pelicans they got basically a G League team, and OKC is just gonna cut it loose, man. It's gonna be an evisceration. Miami tonight was almost 50. It was
If
49
we
to be
lose by
exact.
10, we did awesome.
That's right. If you lose by 15, Willie will be proud of you. So it's what kind of life we live in. But shout out to Lex is in the building. Lex, welcome on in, Queen. What are your thoughts on tonight's tonight's matchup, and of course the fact that the Pels did ink Alfred Payton to a 2-year agreement. That's positive. So, what are your thoughts, Lex?
I think so. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're doing all right.
doing good.
Now, last show I wasn't doing too hot, Lex.
You
I
weren't.
I didn't want to be up in here
Why weren't you doing well?
because of the shit I was watching on my TV. It's a disgrace to even talk about. Like, it's just what basketball is really being played. It's just people out there running around. It's like pickup
Is
ball.
that why y'all not showing y'all faces today?
I'm embarrassed.
Be like, shoot, no brown bags, no sunglasses. You know what?
I'm supporting Trey Murphy. You see the thumbnail.
You a hot mess, man. Hot mess. My thoughts on tonight's game. I didn't watch it. Okay, but I watched a little bit of it. But the season's been over since when would y'all say the season was over?
For me,
Been a
after the
while
All-Star
ago.
break.
Yeah, it's been a
Like
while.
after the first month, the middle of the first month of the season.
Yeah, it's been out for a
I
while.
mean, the season has been it when Zion got hurt in that Cleveland game. Remember that when we looked like we were going to beat Cleveland, and Zion got hurt like in the middle of the game.
Yeah,
The season was officially over at that point, but the Pelicans kept trying to like after the All-Star break. So I
were
think
they?
they were really trying, Lex.
You are you sure?
Yeah, we're just that incompetent.
Oh my gosh.
We were talking about how over it was, here, but they were still trying.
Was
If
Griff
they
trying?
wasn't trying, they would have fired Willie Green.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I think the Pelicans, they may have a chance to beat the OKC, man.
Oh wow.
They might just have a chance.
Okay.
Did I make that believable?
That's a hot take right there.
Nah, that's for gambling purposes. But yeah, they're definitely gonna lay down. I've seen, where Jalen, J Dub, I guess was it call him, and Shea, and really most of the main players where they're sitting down and the bench is playing, and the OKC system is very. They have a beautiful system. They have a beautiful offense. They all understand their identity. Everybody contributes. That's what makes them so dangerous and so allows them to play just beautiful basketball. So even when their best player is not out there, their second best player, their third, their fourth, their fifth, if you want to go there, they're still going to play well. They still play like those guys are out there because they have such a strong identity. They understand their game plan. They understand what they're trying to do, and they're on a string. And when you have a team that's on a string, I don't care who you have out there. And that's the beauty about having such a strong identity and having a strong system, having a really good coach, a coaching staff, a great game plan for each team. And even if they lose to a team, just like how they lost to the Lakers, but they came back in that second time that they played them, because I think it was like a back-to-back. Like, in that short amount of time, they took ownership like, hey, yeah, we will, yeah, we gonna play you again, but next game is gonna be different. It's gonna be different. To have that type of attitude, and not just for that game, but throughout the whole season, it's remarkable. it's just you really can't knock it. I mean, kudos to what they've been doing. Just how they've grown and everything. It's a testament to how when you do things the right way, when you're constantly growing at a steady pace, it allows you to get to this type of moment where you're number one in the West, and I believe number one in the whole league. You're not even one of the oldest teams in the league, but more so one of the youngest. I mean, but they play like vets. Like, this is something that you get, but the discipline is off the charts. And yeah, when you have that, it don't matter if it's the starting lineup out there, the second string, third string, fourth string. Them dudes play, man. They play, and it's just beautiful basketball. It's really nice to just watch them play because they really just know how to move the ball. They have ball movement, player movement. I mean, it's the ideal basketball game that you would want any team to have. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna smop the Pelicans.
yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. The Pelicans, and that'll drop the Pels to 22 and 60 on the season, which ultimately, I think a lot of people understand how this is going to go, Lex, in terms of that. But it brings us to right back to the tankathon, right? Right back, and this is basically what it's about right here. The Pelicans are entrenched at the 4 position, and hmm. But the question, that's the whole thing, and I guess we'll save some of this for the final game for tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, on Sunday at 12:30. We'll kind of get to that point where we kind of look at everything and say, now what's next? We pivot, and the talking point
We
is we
can't
line
start
it up.
doing that tonight. Like, what we waiting for?
I mean, we could touch on it if
You
you
sound
got.
like Willie Green, bro, in that press conference.
Oh, don't say that. That's fighting words.
Okay.
Willie Green said, I want to save my comments about the season till after the season. We can talk about this loss tonight. Really? You
Well,
want to talk
DC,
about the
he
50-point
does.
loss tonight?
We know he don't have no comments, bro. You know
Okay,
that.
Willie.
You know he don't have any comments. What is
You
Willie
mean
Green going to say
you
that
all
that
still
you
listen
haven't
to
heard
him?
before? You haven't heard
Huh?
what he said before? That's what he says. He says the same stuff. He's not going to say anything new.
Yeah,
That was
he
new,
really
Q.
doesn't.
That was new.
Oh, well,
No, it was
It
not.
was embarrassing, but it was new.
go ahead, Lex.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. He gonna say the same thing. He's a broken record. You know, just like
He
how
broke records this year
He's
too.
a little
Probably
more than that, if you ask me.
the more 40-point
2.0
loss we ever
broken
had.
record,
Yeah.
broken cassette tape.
Yeah.
His message is still as hell, ain't no doubt about it, man. But
It
but
really
but
is.
well, let's talk about it though. I mean, one game remaining. Of course, we'll revisit this for the call in. Like I said, for some of the family members,
Will Guillory says this is the most lopsided regular season loss in Pelicans history.
49-point loss.
They tied the previous record earlier this season when they lost by 46 points to Detroit on March 17th. And Willie hit a new high against Miami with it
A
being
new low.
49 points.
A new low, DC.
That's
new
a
low.
high for Willie, Q. This is an asterisk on his coaching resume.
Wow.
This is an achievement.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put in words, man, how bad the Pelicans have been. And then, of course, they're going to pivot to the injury situation, all this kind of stuff. But in the end, man, all
No,
I
it
can tell
has
you
nothing to
is
do with that. You can still coach. I can't say that enough.
Right.
You can still coach. And it's hard when you're the type coach who just relies on talent. You're not doing anything. You're relying on the talent on the team to cover for your coaching. And if you're that type of coach, that's not a coach, because anybody can stand there. Anybody up in this chat can be in Willie's place. Anybody on this panel can be in this. It don't matter. The homeless man on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just relying on talent to make you look good so you can get credit for the win or whatever, dog, you're not coaching. It's more than just rotations and, basically rotations. Because that's all he's doing. And calling timeouts. And looking to the staff for, hey, should we challenge? Like, it's more than that stuff. You have to have, the X's and O's. You have to be able to motivate your team. You have to be able to position your team to, to succeed and to maximize them to help the team. You have to play guys, right? You know what I'm saying? you gotta actually play them, regardless if you like them or not. You gotta play guys that have the best chemistry. These are just like basic things. You gotta, call plays like when your team gets lost. Like, you gotta trust your team. And when you put all that stuff together, it's like, and then, well, actually in the clutch, you gotta be able to perform under pressure, make the right, make the right decisions. Like if someone's in foul trouble or a defensive assignment or exploiting something. And then I think the biggest thing, y'all know what this is, right? You know what this is, right, DC?
What?
Adjustments.
Nah.
You have to have a sound.
Next. After Willie made his adjustments tonight, the Pelicans came out and proceeded to score like maybe 7 points in 10 minutes of the third quarter.
There was absolutely no counterpunch. Like, and then look, I'm a go back to something that I've said in the past. What in God's name did y'all discuss at halftime? Hey, you're doing a good job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, he did the Dennis Allen.
I mean, like, did you go in there? Did y'all just go in there and sit down and twiddle your thumbs and just, you spoke, falsely about the game? Like, hey, you're doing a great job. You're doing a good job. Oh man, that was a great pass you made me. Did you talk about how you can improve and get better in the second half? Like, and this is stuff that we talk about all the time. Like, what are we looking forward to going into next season? What are we looking forward to? What are you telling the supporters that, hey, going into next season, what do supporters have to look forward to? And to me, I feel like that's way more important, especially, if I haven't seen any movement. I've seen more movement of organizations, getting rid of people, and they're actually successful in comparison to the Pelicans, who are not successful. Like, supporters need to see some type of ounce of success. And I'm talking about beyond the draft. I understand everybody's on, oh, we got to lose, we got to lose, we got to lose. Hey, I'm telling y'all right now, the Pelicans have bigger problems. They have way bigger problems. The draft is not the problem. Trading for players is not the problem. Getting talent on the team is not the problem. Y'all want to take a jab at what the problem is? We've only been talking about it all season.
Oh yeah, that's leadership. That's Gil. That's Fat Mouth Lauscher. That's the sycophant and cult leader, basketball cult leader, David Griffin, and his quiet mime. I thought Trajan Langdon was a mime. This guy, this guy, who's the general manager. I'm not even.
No, Q.
I'm not going to even give him a goddamn name. The
Trajan
guy hadn't
Langdon
held.
is a mime. This guy's a puppet. It's a difference.
Bro, no. This is worse. You see, the man didn't have
talk
one.
when David Griffin sitting next to him.
That is true. That is the definition of a puppet. But yes, but bro, still in all. This man is It's an NBA general manager who hadn't had one press conference besides the one where he sat next to David Griffin with the start of the season. Some bitch never did one interview outside of telling what's going on. Set up here this whole season, didn't talk about one thing. Not at all. But he's a general manager of an NBA team.
Yeah, they got a lot of people up in the front office that are not qualified.
A lot of people that's stealing money, man. Let's just say
we got
let's
to
tell the
state that,
truth.
and including the ownership. Y'all are not. You're not qualified to be the owner of a sports team. Yeah, that's it. You're not qualified. You're not qualified to be a VP. You're not qualified. Okay, we using them white terms, right? Qualified, overqualified, underqualified. You're not qualified, period. You're not qualified to coach. You're not qualified to tend to the medical needs of the team. You're not qualified to for the performance training. What are you doing? What are you doing? If you look at everything, let's talk about these people being qualified. No one is showing that they're qualified. Nobody. Who's qualified? Because everybody look bad. Everybody looks bad.
I don't know, Lex. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a great question. Who's really qualified to do anything with this team? And you know what really floors me about the whole thing is I don't like the weird happy-go-lucky energy while the team is literally the ship is sinking into the water and they pretending like they have all answers. David Griffin is obviously not qualified to be anybody's VP. He's been given what 7 years now. We had like 2 playoff appearances and 7. He was milked as this big guy that was going to come in here and turn the Pelicans into a consistent winner. And all he does is make excuses about the health staff without not doing. If you feel, and like I said this before about the Saints, it's the same thing. It's the same philosophy with the Saints that with the Pelicans. If you're going to bring up the health issue, the health monster, as I call it, because players, Cam Jordan, all these guys, they love blaming and beating up on the injury monster because they don't have a mouth to talk back and talk about how messed up they are, how shitty they are in their training, how terrible the coaches are, the bad decision making. They don't never turn and talk about that. But anyway, let's pivot to this because this is really, and this accentuates your points as well as DC's points. Scott Kushner, who we've had on the show before, guy that he don't even cover the Pelicans no more, but it's the fact that he is always dropping these tweets, and we're going to bring Scott back to the show, but because he's telling it like it is. It's like, I remember there was days when very few people would go at the Saints or Pelicans as roughly as we do. And now everybody seems to be doing it now. I mean, it wasn't fashionable for us to go at Mickey Loomis when everybody, or Sean Payton when he was screwing up. But it's norm now. But anyway, listen to several of his tweets here. This is as of an hour ago. He says literally the only thing that could keep me, he says that could make me have a lower opinion ownership group is if they fire Griff to hire Joe Dumars, which was the plan was to, he said, bookmark this if you need to. Literally the only thing that can make me have a lower opinion of ownership if they fire Griff. They need and the thing is, what's interesting is Joe Dumars was originally the guy that was supposed to be the VP, and they did not want to pay him his asking price, despite the fact that he was qualified to be that.
And you know what? That's everything, though. Look, he didn't want to pay Willie Green. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting people who are not qualified, and you're being cheap. You may spend some money. All that money you make, you're $1 billion corporation. Y'all can't spend no money.
That's the point. Listen to this, and I'm gonna cut it loose so y'all can kind of comment on some of these things because I found it very interesting. He also adds, it's hard to imagine how either Gail Benson's franchise could be in the worst position. She never answers questions from the media. Her uppermost executives are never held accountable to their failures. Yet the prices always go up, and so do the valuations. Sad. The next one, that's powerful within itself. She don't answer no questions. Lauscher, who's the team president, don't know shit about basketball or football, but yet he's the team president. They
Right.
over rely on a stupid ass Mickey Loomis and a crazy backwards ass David Griffin, who is, I'm telling you guys, this guy won't hire a strong coach because the strong coach will tell him to take his decision and stick him up his ass. He wants control of the team where he can gather all the credit. The problem is she don't know enough to pull the trigger, and she'll believe whatever they tell her. He also adds the real losers in all of this are the sports supporters in this region, who I suppose are fortunate enough to have two professional teams in the U.S. 59 largest MSA, but are treated to high prices, routine losing, and display no long-term vision to reach championship contention. This is powerful. He also added a few more.
Losing, man.
Got a few.
Did y'all see that part?
I'm gonna bring it back to it, Lex. I'm gonna show you a few more.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a culture, right, Lex?
Yeah, a routine of losing, which is that man. There's the culture right there.
Says
That's the culture y'all talking about.
Go 0-17, charge 99 cents for beer and popcorn, 0 complaints from me. So he shows with Warren Sharp saying the Saints gave Derek Carr $150 million 2 years ago. In 2026, he has a ridiculous $69 million cap hit. But he also has almost a $60 million dead cap hit. This is stupid Saints numbers. This is dumb Mickey. He also has Scott Kushner between Derek Carr and Nico. News my fall weekends just changed pretty dramatically. And of course, he talk about some of the stuff that tied to the Saints, and Derek Carr ultimately is hurt with a shoulder issue. News is coming out that the Saints knew that he was hurt, and now you pay him all that money, and more than likely, chances are he's not going to even play this entire season. This is the stupid ass shit that people really lambast. But anyway, to keep it on the Pelican side, this is something really I want y'all to comment on it. Hard to imagine how either Gail Benson's franchises could be in a worse position. She never answers questions from the media, and her uppermost executives have never held accountable for their failures. Mickey Loomis can sit up there.
What owner does answer questions from the media though? That's the one thing I kind of disagree.
They do have some that answer questions.
I know, but most of them you don't never really hear from them unless they win a championship. Then they give up and get their little speech.
But you know why though? How are those teams doing? How are they doing?
It depends on.
They're doing good, but you got some teams. I don't even know who the hell the owner is for the Wizards.
Yeah, but I mean, who followed? I mean, the Wizards have been bad for a long time, but I don't know because they were in the playoffs, like, for a stretch. So I wouldn't know, but I mean, if you think about the more reputable ones, I mean, because what are you trying to compare the Pelicans to? Are we trying to compare the Pelicans to teams that are on the very bottom?
Well, but Lex, I wouldn't. I don't know about the Washington Wizards or AKA the Washington Bullets. The people won a championship in the late 70s, man. So I mean, the Pelicans, even though they are bad now, at least they did something. The Pelicans never even, they can only hope to get half of that, man, from what the Washington Bullets, Wizards now they're doing, has done. This is a team that, like I said, they won a championship before. Pelicans ain't done shit.
No,
they can't even build. They can't put competent leadership together. But go ahead, Lex. You got the floor there.
It's another thing that's crazy. OKC was formed after the Pelicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look where they are.
Yeah, they surpassed us. But they surpassed us a long time ago, though.
No, but I mean,
this their second go at it.
But what's crazy is that they've accomplished a lot more, and their organization was formed afterwards, because you have to think when Chris Paul was here, the Pelicans after Katrina used OKC. OKC wasn't even, they weren't even here. OKC Thunder did not exist.
Mm-hmm.
And once they had the trial and error with the Pelicans, of course, I don't think the Pelicans were the Pelicans, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Same thing. If you want to be like that, OKC was basically, they switched locations, so.
But it was a trial and error. They saw that, wow, we can actually support a team. Yeah. And that's when, the Supersonics moved to OKC, and it's like they just. Actually, you look at they went to the finals with KD and Russ and James Harden. They did go to the finals against Miami, and then now they have Shea and J Dub and Chet Holmgren. You know what I'm saying? And really, they this team they have a better bench than what you know KD, Russ, and James Harden have. But I mean, they've taken at two different times. They've taken a group and they've elevated each time. And you saw those steps, and this is a team that was formed after. You know what I'm
But
saying?
who was there
After
the
the
whole
Pelicans.
time? They've had a GM in the name of Sam Presti, as well as a lot of other great people in their organization. But Sam Presti is kind of the guy that spearheaded it, you know.
Ah, goodness gracious. I just, this just confirms and lets you know that something is really wrong. And I'm glad, Scott Kushner, he's pointing those things out
Mhm.
because nobody's talking about this. Y'all know that, right? Nobody's talking about this part. Everybody's been mentioning all the injuries and nobody's even, talking about the coaching for real. But this part right here, this isn't talked about enough by mainstream media or by, just anyone in the media who really has a strong voice, whether it be a personal podcast. I mean, I understand we talk about it, but there's a lot of cats like ex NBA players, Hall of Famers, just reputable journalists that they're not talking about these things. And I think that's what the problem is because all this stuff right here, it's hidden. It's like it's swept under the rug. We know that the Pelicans have their media on payroll. So if you're not talking right, oh, you get your media card revoked, right? Your media pass. Oh, you asking the wrong questions. Oh, you investigating a little bit too much. Oh, I didn't like the way you phrased that question. Like they really do need to be put on Front Street. This needs to be like exposed and like at a big scale because I feel like really that's what it's going to take in order for the Pelicans to really make changes. Is if, and I'm not talking about, just like typical embarrassment or stuff, that's okay. When you start talking about this stuff right here and you start getting down to the meat of things, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Did they just say my name? Like right now, nobody's really talking about Griff. Nobody's talking about Bryson Graham. Nobody's putting their names out on Front Street. Nobody's talking about Gail, not in this light. Like this needs to be like louder, all this stuff by every journalist, mainstream media, all that. To be like, man, and start asking those questions. Hey, why are both your franchises doing horrible, man? Who do you got in that front office? Let me see who you got on the front office. I know it's on the internet. Let me look that up. Man, what's this dude? Man, this dude's been here for what? Going on 7 years? Well, what's the team been doing? Golly, they haven't been doing nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like when and once they start investigating, especially what's her name? Um uh the girl on ESPN with the Gumake, the other girl, the one that a lot of people don't really care for. Cause she's like she really investigates. Malika, is that her name? Y'all still there?
Talking about
Think
Malika
so.
Andrews.
Yeah, that's Malika.
Yeah, her.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
about who you talking about.
Yeah, she be investigating for real, especially if it's a brother, and his past and things. You know what I'm saying? Chicken
I
head.
think that they
You need
choose how to read the script, Lex. That's what I think that is.
Yeah.
no, but it's like you don't gotta do all that, chicken. Hey, let me tell you something. There's a whole bunch of people in a lot of different races that ain't doing right. Okay? But you want to manage to point out the brothers. And ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. But hey, all I'm saying is that if you gonna investigate all that stuff, why don't you investigate this, honey? Why don't you help the Pelicans franchise out and help them remove some of this trash that's in this organization? Because the supporters don't deserve this. They don't. If y'all want to talk about something for real, if mainstream media wants to talk about something for real, instead of throwing, you know, just obviously you focus on Zion, you focus on, the team losing or whatever. I don't know. But all those minute things that you're talking about, all those conversation pieces are, man, that's nothing. Like, let's go after the head of the snake. Help the people of New Orleans, help the city, help, the supporters, help them get what we deserve. You know what I'm saying? Let's start there. Use your platform and talk about the real issues, because this has been a problem. Everybody, even when Tony Allen said it, or DeMarcus Cousins, and anybody else who voiced it, but I think those two guys are the most recent. you know it's they said this is not a good organization. It's not a good organization. Ain't nobody took that and ran with it. Nobody's done that. It's like, it would just be nice if those people would use their platform to really get down to the meat of the problem and call out Gail Benson, call out David Griffin, call out Bryson Graham, call out Willie Green. Stop, color coding things. Stop this policy, this professional code. Oh, we don't talk about, you know what? You talk about the players like trash. You always want to expose they dirt. You always want to do that because they're out front. They're the marketability. They're the brand, right? Everybody sees them. But who do the people not see? The people don't see Gail. Most of the country don't even know who Gail Benson is. Most of the country, or fans of other teams, they don't know who Griff is. Cleveland does. And I guarantee nobody, I don't even, in other front offices, they don't know who, hey, Bryson Graham's the GM. Who? Huh? Who did you say? I've never heard of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows these people's names. They need to be out on Front Street. And that would actually help. When it's like, when you start dissecting, shoot, as a loudmouth to Stephen A, hey man, if Stephen A could just, take his mind off Zion for a quick second, okay? And we know everybody's gonna hear him. Can you imagine Stephen A talking about Gail? Talking about Griff? I mean, putting it all out there. And he'll make sure it gets out there. Hey, Steven, I'm not saying that, it'll help me like you more, because I still don't like you. But you know what, man? Hey, man, kudos to what you just did. Because you know what? You put them out on Front Street, and now perhaps we'll really get real movement on getting these people out of here and really fixing this organization. Because that's
Yeah.
what needs to be done. That has to be done. Like, it don't matter who you draft. It doesn't matter who you trade for. If the foundation of this organization is still the same, nothing's changing.
Let me, Lex, you're 100% right. Just letting you cook. It's very interesting because, I mean, this is nothing new. If you listen to PPR, we've been saying the same thing for a long time. The Pelicans haven't had sustained success because of the leadership. They have guys up here these people are so blind and stupid and greedy. They don't even realize that when David Griffin first stepped in the door and he was doing all this talking, we immediately, seeing you give a guy an opportunity, but the guy is a con man. I mean, he talks in this verbiage. Nothing specific, is all general. Year after year, he makes the most common basic. He makes mistakes a rookie general manager would make. He picks the wrong. He does the wrong, like coming through the door, allowing Elvin Gentry to stay. That was we said that's a terrible decision. You end up firing him. Now that's on your jacket. You pick up Van Gundy after 1 year. You fire him after 1 year. You get, and then of course, after dealing with that, you picked up a inexpensive, very inexperienced coach in Willie Green, who's a yes man. Willie Green is a company man. He's a yes man. He does whatever they tell him to do, but he's not good at team building. That's not his skill. Willie Green, in 4 years of being a Pelicans coach, and you give a guy an opportunity, he's had some positive things, but Willie Green is not going to take the Pelicans to contention. And that's what you want to see. You want to see a team that's constantly in the postseason, that's contending. That is not Willie Green. He does not know how to utilize his players. He looks confused. His nose is too big. The last one I just threw that in. But outside of that, I just feel like a lot of times, man, that order for them to get where they need to be, you need leadership at the top. And David Griffin wants control. He wants to be able to be the one you point to say, yeah, he took him to respectability. But his character flaws, his personality flaws is the reason why he's choking his team to death. This weird ideology about good human beings, and you got a punk ass team that's soft that people pushes around. They're not an intelligent team. They're a talented team at times, but they get flustered and beat by intelligent teams that are disciplined. Physical teams rattle them and don't respect them. And this is some of the most physical and respected players in the NBA saying it consistently, whether it's Jimmy Butler or whether it's Draymond Green. Take it how you want. But these guys know that to rattle the Pelicans because they're soft. And then you got a guy sitting up here talking about take 40 shots a night. You don't care how you get them, whether half of the shots is bad. You're gonna get 43-point shots a night. Like we Golden State Warriors. You're not created that way. But in the end, like I said, the adjustment ability, him not understanding what the philosophy of what James Borrego's bringing in, him not having with adjustment ability, the feel of the game, to be able to know when to call timeouts, how to move the correct lineups in the right areas of the game to give them an oomph to be able to take the game to the next level. The adjustments alone is terrible. His motivational style is daunting. It's flustered. It grew really drab and predictable. Him talking about he gets blown out by 40 points. And we ain't even talking about tonight. We're talking about the several dozen other games this year when the Pelicans had credible people like Trey Murphy or DeJounte Murray or Zion Williamson, and they get beat. And then he gets up there after they lose by 20 and says, I'm proud of them. It's just the guy is just not what he's, and like I said, he's not a respected NBA coach. Nobody's shouting the strategic prowess of Willie flipping Green. Nobody's talking about that. He's just a guy with a job, and if you want that to be respectable, you got to find the right man to take the job. But anyway, I'm gonna get that back to you. Shout out to Hoffa, man, for giving us the super chat. Much love, bro. Good to see you out there. We gotta hit them pockets to get some change. Because Gail Benson, it worked for
take the change to get some change.
That's right.
Say thank you very much for picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Shout out to Hoffa on that, man, because that's a good game, bro.
Yeah, you're right, man, and I think that's a way to get them to understand we're not falling for all the fluffy bullshit. Because that's all they give us. They give us these illusions of, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But when you look at the actions, it doesn't support any of that. You keep getting all the injury talk. But until last season, what did we do to combat all the injuries? Or we had a personal therapist. The season before last, after having all of those injuries, that's the only improvement we made. I mean, you got rid of the medical staff, and it's just more of the same. Which actually, like you said, Big Q, they didn't really get rid of him. He was still an advisor. So it's just so many things, man. They're always putting band-aids on stuff. They never want to fix anything. And as you and Lex pointed out, it all starts at the top with leadership. The tone is set with Miss Benson. And as we know, she doesn't understand what's going on, obviously. So you got to look to the next person, which is Dennis Lauscher and those type of guys, and they're money people. And then you get to David Griffin, and he's just a liar, a fake, a phony, and a fraud. And the product, represents that. We barely get to the playoffs, and when we get to the playoffs, we don't win often. And it'll continue to be the same way if we keep going down the same path. So I'm with my man Hoffa, man. We got to take that change if we want to get some change, because that's the only thing they understand. The family base tells them time and time again things you should do, and the Pels just want to go against the grain and do the opposite. And the sad part about it's really not that hard. I mean, you could be out of this or be middle of the pack, just being a copycat. Just look around the league. They don't even look at what other teams are doing. They're always the last to know and the last to try to catch up to what's been going on, and everybody else then figured out 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons ago. And then we finally do it. Oh, you know what? That really worked. That was a good idea. And then by the time you're doing it, it then moved on to something else. So it is definitely time for a change. But it's going to take a little bit more than just getting Willie out of here, as we know.
Yeah. Yeah, getting rid of Willie is not enough.
I mean, but you
I
know
mean, a
what
lot
though?
of people felt like, even with Brandon, but it's like, man,
Brandon
that
wasn't
is
the
just
problem.
that it's not that's not it. Like, it doesn't matter, like, as far as like just the small things that you do with this organization, because the top is not right. The foundation, if you don't have a strong foundation, you're gonna fall.
Mm-hmm.
That's with construction. You know what I'm saying? That and a lot of times, family. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a strong foundation to stand on. I mean, that's like a lot of times, like when you see, like, the success that people have, they have some type of strong foundation. And I mean, obviously they are $1 billion corporation, but you're $1 billion corporation that's failing. And in comparison to all the other $1 billion corporations, you're not doing too well. And I think Jaden said earlier that so the Pelicans do have a culture. Unfortunately, it's not the culture that you you know what I'm saying, that you would really want to call a culture. But if you want to call it that, it's a losing routine. It's a recipe of losing. That's what this organization has been. If you think about it, not having any type of presence in the playoffs, not consistently going to the playoffs. Okay, so you had a good regular season, but you got swept in the playoffs. What does that mean? What does that really mean? Like, and I think last season, there was a lot of back and forth, because a lot of people really felt like, hey man, we were a 49 win team. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really did something. We did this. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we had one of the top records. Yeah, a 49 win team, and you're still in the play-in. Yeah, a 49 win team, but you got swept in the playoffs. Like, you have to look at the whole picture. You can't be blinded just by that 49 wins. Like, yes, there's 49 wins, but did you look at how bad the Pelicans all season on last season were in the clutch?
Historically
You know what I'm
bad.
saying? Like, when you start looking at things, it's like there was a lot of people who were blinded. That's what it was, blinded by those 49 wins. And guess what? There were still injuries. Maybe not as bad as this year, but we talked about how there were so many deficiencies. And not only that, when you look at the offseason, you went forward and you went backwards at the same time. What does that mean? What does that mean when you go forwards and backwards at the same time? You didn't get anywhere. You were stagnant. If you're not going forward, and especially if you're going backward, you're still in the same spot that you were like a year ago, a season ago. You got a point guard, but then you lost a starting big man. And then you banked on, oh, we'll figure it out as far as with Misi. That is a horrible game plan. That's horrible preparation going into a season, and you're talking about winning now. There's no logic to that. I mean, does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
well,
you're
that
talking about winning now. You're talking about, oh, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out with Misi, a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is crazy.
yeah, and that's the thing, at sometimes you look at this and I don't think the Pelicans believe half the spew they kick out because a lot of the stuff that, you pick up and see, but Willie Green be saying, and I think it's just, there is it's a lot of falseness here, and we'll see what the plan is. Because if at some point toward the back of the season, when the regular season over with, they always do these press conferences where they come out and it's a long spew and spill about injuries. So get ready for it because he had an opportunity to talk about if injuries wouldn't have slowed down the team, all this kind of stuff. But they don't do nothing about the injury. See, I'm the aspect of it is to take the injury excuse away and force you to improve your health staff. That's the answer. The answer is not to complain about the injuries because they say that every year that they stifle the team's growth. They never mention bad coaching. They never mention poor personnel. They never mention poor preparation of players. They never mention none of that. They don't blame coaches. They don't blame themselves. They don't blame, the money that they spend. And they never do that. All they do is pivot to something that can't fight back. And people are conditioned, and it's just what it is. I was one at one time, believe it or not, was to accept the injury excuse. But it's obvious because they don't give you anything else. If they threw the injury excuse in there with other things like, man, we were bad, we did this and that stuff, then you can accept it. But to always blame that on something when you got a physical sport where people get hurt in like they're not supposed to get hurt, and to control the rate of injury is based on your team, your health staff. That's not stopping Boston. That's not saying. Then they say, "Oh, it must be something in the water." Ain't nothing in the goddamn water that ain't in Boston, for God's sakes.
Hey,
You ever
it
been to
does
Boston
not
and look
work
in their
like
waters? You ever been to some of these major cities and looked in their water? Whatever's up there is in here. You better believe it. It's not have nothing to do with what's in the air or the water. It has everything to do with it is in the building, in the rehab building, and the medical side of things. There are levels to it. Some teams are hell bent on getting the best doctors and the best technology that they can find to help them win. How is Boston and all these other teams able to keep their people healthy enough to compete year after year? But you sitting up here with all your damn people on the bench and blaming it on the water and the air and a curse. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous and stupid how people will believe this crap that they say. It's a curse on the people down here. Now, get out of here with that bullshit, man. It ain't got nothing to do with no curse and no water and no damn air. It has everything to do with the shitty medical staff that they assembled. Do better, get better technology, invest more money, in finding better doctors that specialize in the type of injuries that are currently hitting the NBA. You get the top doctors you can afford. You build a staff. You get the technology together. You do that, then before you come back to us with this bullshit about injuries all the time. That's what you do. You have to take that away. And when I start telling people that there's an answer for everything, and every year they keep missing the bar and talking about this, that, and the third. No, but you're right, Lex. It has to be something at the other level. David Griffin, the answer is simple. David Griffin needs to be fired. He's been here for 7 years. The Pelicans have not achieved the type of success that we wanted to see. How much time do you need to have for a guy to turn the team around? 7 years is more than enough time to build a team. And it's not just the team and how they construct it. It's also he has powers to deal with the medical side. So he hasn't done a good job. He needs to go, and he knows that because when he first came down here, you couldn't stop him from talking. You get all in between the games talking. That dude has been listening to these broadcasts. He feels the heat on him. He has disappeared. He don't do none of that stuff. When he did that press conference, that's when they came out with Kellen Moore as the head coach of the Saints, and he dipped in on the back end to do a press conference, knowing that he wasn't going to be the top story. You go look at that interview on the Pelicans channel, that shit ain't even got a lot of views because they don't want to hear him. He understands the gig is up. You need to go. You've been here for 7 years, and this team has been to the playoffs twice. DC, Lex mentioned how they got ran out the playoffs. Antonio Daniels that does the broadcast every damn game. When that happened in the playoffs, he said what happened in the playoffs took all of the what was the term he used? All of the not the glamour, but all of the whatever you want to call it, the bravado, whatever, off of the season. The way you ended the playoffs, the run when you got swept badly by OKC took
That's
all
true.
of the positive
That's true.
off the season, how you ended the season. That's what Antonio Daniels said, and I agree with that.
This is
Yeah.
true. There's no reason to lose that badly, even if you couldn't win a game. It's just the way like that they
The
lost.
first
It was
game was
so
actually their best game.
right, and they were supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
They really should have won that game. And the other way, it was just so incompetent, man. Like my thing is, it's one thing when you see a team, fighting and scratching, and they trying different things. They having some success here. This ain't working. The Pels just constantly did the same thing over and over again on a big stage and changed nothing, and got worse results each time until they got swept. It was just embarrassing. It's like, why are you even here? Why did you even show up? And that can't be excused. Especially on a playoff team, on a playoff stage, if you're a serious team about actually contending or even becoming a contender, like you can't just sweep that under the rug, man. Competent organizations, that'd have been it. They would have took whatever contract, they'd have tore that shit up with Willie Green, and they'd have cut ties right there. He wasn't even supposed to be the coach this year. You can't look at that, and then you look at what happened with Brandon Ingram when we talked about this earlier, Big Q. He went to Toronto, not saying like we had to keep Brandon Ingram because Trey Murphy benefited, tremendously from that. But he went to Toronto and took the same amount of money that we offered him. He clearly didn't want to be here anymore. Why? You go back to that playoff series where Willie Green got behind the podium and told Brandon Ingram he's going to have to figure it out. When they talked about him getting easier looks and how they were pressuring him and really doubling him on and off ball. And then you had all the talk about Brandon Ingram and him getting into it in the locker room behind that. And we didn't see any evidence all season of anything changing with that. Willie Green didn't learn anything from that. Ain't build off nothing from that. And if he goes back to the playoffs and he was still the coach in seasons to come, if we get there, he would do the same thing because that's who he is. Win or lose is one thing you can say about Willie. He is consistent. He is consistent with his bullshit and his fuckery. And don't change. And the Pels, they are consistent with not evaluating the situation properly and pulling the trigger and pulling off Band-Aids after everything is already infected. You could have been nipped this in the bud, pulled that band-aid off, put a little alcohol on it, put your fresh one on there, get healed up, and you back out there. But nah, the Pels will let that shit fester and infect until you about to lose your goddamn arm. Then they won't pull it off and put a new band-aid on, and the whole arm infected, damn near falling off. It's a little late for that, nah. So getting rid of Willie Green is definitely the move, but David Griffin ass got to go too. Now,
It's a
I
package deal.
understand your standpoint as well as everybody else. I wish we could be as intelligent as Denver, and that's saying a lot because they got rid of a championship winning coach and GM. But for whatever reason, we got to see how it play out. They felt like it ain't working or whatever they doing. They were smart enough to get rid of their coach and their GM. It's a good move if you ask me. If you're gonna go in a different direction and you want to do something totally different, that's how you do it. Because a lot of teams who get rid of the coach and put somebody else there, it takes a while before that still gets turned around and the GM wind up getting fired a lot of times anyway. Why not just pull a socket on the whole thing? Are the Pels intelligent enough to just be copycats and look around the league? We're gonna find out.
They struggle doing that, DC.
We're gonna find
Like
out.
they really need to do that. That would be wise for them to, like, hey, just mimic one of these successful organizations and see what happens.
Oh, he thought
Infrastructure, system, all of
we
it.
thought he was doing that with Golden State, Lex. I said, let's
No,
stop the Golden
no.
State stuff. Let's go Boston, do the Boston route, because that would fit more what you got going anyway. Because
Then,
they
then
switch, they
if
switch
you
better
trying to
than
do
whatever
that,
you're
go
trying to
get
do.
Bob Myers then. Go get him. Go get Bob Myers. You wanna do all this stuff? Go get Bob Myers. Go get a coach from Popovich's staff or the Boston Celtics. Go do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to replicate a culture, which that culture is not here, because there is none. You have to go and get the personnel to make that culture happen. And dude, you not it. This is the same dude who drafted Anthony Bennett. The biggest bust, upset, disappointment in the history of the NBA. You like, that don't make sense. Like, dude, what
Lex, sometimes you F up.
are you talking about the Warriors for? And you are the same person who drafted Anthony Bennett. No,
Sometimes,
if we want the
sometimes you,
Warriors, Bob. What's
sometimes
up,
you F
Bob?
up, Lex. That's how
Bob,
it
you
goes.
need a job? Bob,
Sometimes you
you
F up.
available? You want
That's
to
what
take a
David
break?
Griffin said.
You want
When
to take a
asked
break
about
being an analyst?
when asked about Anthony Bennett, the wordy David Griffin responded by saying, "Sometimes you F up."
No.
That's what his response was to drafting
No.
Anthony Bennett.
Yeah.
What happened to all that
And
fantastic
I
word
think by
salad?
him saying
It happens.
that made it like he took ownership. No, like, dog, you shouldn't have got another opportunity.
Can't get them all right.
Man,
I
that was
got
the worst
Yves right.
one.
I got Trey Murphy right.
I got Kyrie.
I got Zion right.
No, he just. I mean, it's easy when everybody's telling you who to get. Cause let me tell you something. Uh, goodness gracious, Murray, DeJounte Murray. That wasn't him. That wasn't his decision. Okay. What's this dude? What's the agent's name?
Rich
LeBron's
Paul.
boy.
Rich Paul. You had to listen to him, Lex.
Yeah.
You had to listen to Rich Paul.
Y'all know that, right?
What?
He didn't think that up. That one, trust me.
Oh, you talking
That
about
was
the
not on these
Deontay
dudes'
Murray
minds,
trade?
man. He's not, dude. You ain't a mastermind like that. And then you trying to think you gonna turn around and fleece somebody like a Danny Ainge. You think you're going to fleece somebody like Brad Stevens? Man, go kick rocks, man. You ain't that bright. You ain't that bright. And then, even with Brandon, we all knew you weren't going to get a haul for him. You waited too long. You waited too long. You're late. You're delayed. His window passed. That's why even with the same amount of money, like you said, DC, you know what I'm saying? Like, dog, but we're offering you the same money. I don't care. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're getting, buddy. You're not gonna get everything. And we knew that. We knew it wasn't gonna be like a haul or anything like that. I mean, dude, I don't know. Like, so to think that you're trying to replicate what the Warriors are doing, but you don't have Warriors personnel, Warriors front office mindsets, like actual legitimate winning habit, like characteristics. Like Griff, you don't have that. You're not a winner. You're more like let me take a wild guess. Loser. That's what you're more like. You make loser decisions. You do loser type things. You do loser type micromanagement. You're a loser in taking advantage of people. That's some loser type stuff. You don't empower anybody. You're not trying to elevate and uplift and make people great and maximizing what they can really do. That's some loser type leadership. Loser. That's some loser stuff.
Talk, boy. He ain't lying.
All I know at the end of the day, like that's facts. There's definitely some loser shit going on here. I'm sick of it, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. We've been doing this show for a very long time, y'all.
DC, is that you?
Losers.
It's terrible, man. And that's what I bring it back to.
Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura.
Raise your hand if you're tired of these losers in this organization.
Man. I just want to be able to watch a game and know that we have a chance of winning, possibly. You know.
I mean, we got losers at the helm.
I'm really proud of the guys for getting their ass kicked. Like, come on, man.
Look, we got losers at the podium.
You too, Molly. Losers.
Oh my gosh. How many 40-point games have the Pelicans lost this season?
It gotta be about 8, I think. Let's see how.
You don't think it's in double
how can we
digits?
find that? Let's see how we find that.
Goodness gracious, man. These freaking losers. Goodness gracious. That's what you get. Loser leadership, losing team.
Pretty much.
Oh man. That's crazy. Does anybody know how many 40-point games? How many 40-point?
I'm trying to find it right now.
Look, 30 point and up. How many 30-point? Because losing by 30 points is bad. Like we say 20 points is a blowout, right? But dog, 30, 40. Did y'all come to play today? You know what I'm saying? Did y'all know that there was a game? Oh man. That's awful, man. You should never witness that type stuff. Ever. But we all know what all this stuff is about. Y'all know what it is.
I found
Right?
the Pelicans' last StatMuse has something. Let me see if I can put it up here. The Pelicans' last 25 losses by more than 10 points. So let me put this up here. There you go, Lex. You can go down the rabbit hole with me.
Oh shoot. I mean, you know what? Look, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do some impromptu stuff. It was like, how many
This
wins?
is the Pelicans' last 25 losses by more than 10 points. And all of them are
So
this year.
20. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many
I guess I got
losses
to
they
pay money
got?
to see the rest of them.
Well, how many losses the Pelicans got?
I don't know. 60. That's
Okay,
61
so
on the season.
30 or 40.
30 or 40.
Dang, man. And 28. I think I see 28 points. We gonna round that up to 30. You know what I'm saying? Look, we trying to prove a point here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you losers need to go. You know what I'm saying?
Consistent. They are consistent at losing, Lex.
Routine of losing. That's what Kushner said. Ain't
Dang,
that
look at
right,
this. Look at this
Petrie?
right here. Number 10 and 9. Like it was back to back that week. We got our ass whipped like 40-point losses back to back right there.
Dang.
That's in
Golly.
a
It's
span of 4
horrible.
days, two 40-point losses. You got what, a 14-point loss against Golden
Hoffa,
State,
it don't even matter if you still got these
20, 20, 20.
clowns up in this organization,
Well,
man.
let's see, one,
I know everybody wants to have their spirit lifted by getting a top pick, but the
two,
reality is, if Willie
three.
Green, David Griffin, Gail Benson, Bryson Graham, if they Loomis, Lauscher, the three stooges at the top below Gail, if they still here, man, it don't even matter. Cause all you gonna do, you gonna waste the top picks talent. You're not gonna use them properly. And I think that's the biggest problem, man. Like, you're not addressing the problem. It's not enough just to get a top pick. And it's like, all right, we got a top pick. Now what? You get Cooper. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, that problem is still there. And, hey, it would be great to get the top pick and you have, let's say, I'll paint a picture for you. You got Dumars, you got Dumars as the VP, and you have Bob Myers as the GM, and you have Taylor Jenkins or Mike Malone as the head coach. Those three areas right there, that can do something. That's a major change right there. Like, and you get a top pick, it's like, oh shoot. Who's ready for next season? Who's ready for next season if that's your front office or some of your front office? I'm just saying. I mean I mean, are we optimistic about the season if we have that type of lineup as our VP, GM, and
Well,
coach?
you know my take, Lex. Rome wasn't built in a day. The Pelicans are slow as hell at building anything, if they
I'm
even
just
know how to
saying,
build.
if you have that, if you have those type people in the office.
Well, all it takes is one person to come through and throw a grenade to shit and shake up stuff to where they have to make a change. So you
Well,
get the
who's
right
that gonna
coach
be?
and
Who
you
is
get
that?
the right coach in there. You certain players like certain players will come in and they'll really ruffle some stuff up. Like
Griff don't want them type people.
but sometimes you inherit them and they're good or borderline great. So you can't just get rid of them. And they're like, look, I don't want to play here unless you get rid of such and such and such and such. Now it's him or me. You know what I'm saying? Like you need those type of people to force ultimatums on them, because if not, and they can't see the folly of their own errors, they're just gonna constantly be stuck in their ways. So that's why I say, even if David Griffin is still here, I still want a top tier coach if we can hopefully get him. I still want top tier players because you don't know the mentality that may come with those people that may force change. And if they don't want to win and they don't want to force change, I hope they out them all to the media on their way out the door. Yeah, they got rid of me because I wanted to win and they didn't want to win. I'm a winner. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of things have to happen either to them, to the support base. Those type of things, that's the only thing that's gonna bring about a change. So if we just don't want to get certain players or look forward to anything, it's just be more of the same. But even though they stuck in their ways, whoever they wind up potentially bringing in house, those people might not have the same flawed loser mentality that they have, and they might fight hard to not drink the Kool-Aid on that shit. And in the end, the strongest mind gonna win. And the mind of a winner is always stronger than the mind of a loser, or even a mind of a lot of losers. a winner can still overcome that. So until we get something like that, some type of we don't have a backbone. We don't have nobody that just won't take it. Or if we do, they don't feel confident enough to speak on it. Maybe they waiting for the right time, or they hoping for something so they could come out and show their true colors. Because it just seems like everything is run down, beat down, and everybody's just used to losing. But the only way you can change that is through putting different people in that building, whether it be through players, whether it be through the front office management or coaching. And if they don't want to fire David Griffin, what other choice do we have? Then it'd be through coaching or players. You think they're going to let us come in there, Lex?
I just, there just needs to be like meaningful change, so
Yeah.
because I really do want things to be different, but again, we know that the Pelicans move like molasses, man. We know that they move like molasses, and can anybody truly say that they're looking forward to next season? Like, you're excited.
I'm not
you have a
excited
major
I'll be
excitement.
honest.
I'm not excited yet, but I'm looking forward to
I'm
next
looking
season.
forward to it because ain't nothing to
It
look
can't be
forward to
worse
now.
than this.
Right. And the fact is, the pressure is like it's going to be a mounted pressure, even though you have a small contingent of people talking about, oh, we're going to land a player and a lot.
This season, Big Q?
No, it's different though, Lex. It's big time different this year, especially when you bottom out as a 20, you're going to finish as a 21 win team. And there has to be somebody got to take that. You can't absorb that. You can't, if a VP walk away. Maybe he leaves unscathed because we know Gail's stupid. We know Dennis Lausch is a moron. So we got two people that's not even paying attention. All they care about is money. So we know they're not competent enough or even astute enough to know that you gave a man 7 years to turn your team around and he won 2 years of the 7. That's not what you need. You don't give him more time. And he just keeps reinventing the team. You got to have timelines is the point. They don't have that. Willie Green has been here for 4 years. And the fall of it, like because of the team, Willie Green hasn't improved as a coach. You need to have, and then on top of that, you got coaches. See, the whole demographic, the whole landscape has changed. The pressure's on them because of not just because of 20-win season. The fact that you have coaches that are being fired that are championship coaches. I mean, that are winners. You got two guys. You got a guy that won a championship just 2 years ago. You have another man and that was fired within 2 weeks before the end of the season. Both of these men are their franchise's top winning coaches. You put those teams are firing their top winning coaches and they're still winning. For whatever reason, whether it's whatever, these guys are out there. as an organization, you have to look at yourself based on what you've seen. And one of the teams is in the same division as you. You get a Tyler Jenkins or Malone or a guy like that. You have to look at yourself in the mirror alone and say, man, we got to go and make a play for these guys. We got to do something. We gave this guy 4 years of Willie Green and what he's done. And Willie Green's not going to take you to a championship. That's what it comes down to. It's more than just, they talk about winning. We talk about Them people don't even mention no championships down here.
No, because they're losers.
Because they understand the pressure. They don't want to deal with the pressure. They just want to make money. See, the thing is different. You forced Gale to fire Dennis Allen. If you hadn't done that, the Saints would have kept him. And they did that by way of the falling.
Why wasn't there any force on firing,
Because there's not the same angst.
He's a nice man.
It's not the same angst for Willie Green that it was for Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was not liked by a lot of people. He was a backstabbing, lying, ugly, rotten. The players didn't like him. The people didn't like him. He was backstabbing.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I think it is the same with Willie. It's just the fact that Willie is not. He's not like a weasel the way Dennis Allen was, but he is not liked by a lot of people.
Bro, listen to me. It is not the same.
I respect your opinion. Don't want him as a coach, but I think they like him kind of as a man. Like outside of basketball, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, but that don't have
as a coach. I don't think none of them guys want him. It was the same thing with the Saints. Like them players didn't want Dennis Allen.
No, Dennis Allen was undermining his own team stupidly, backstabbing people, taking sides, doing stuff like that. Willie Green is just a coach that comes off like he's a guy that's weak. He's inept in his control. His rhetoric is baseline. I mean, he's monotone. He doesn't know when to get mad. When he does get mad about something that doesn't have any stand power, it's not taken seriously. He doesn't protect his players. Zion's taking bows and arrows from getting hurt in these games, and Willie doesn't get up. He doesn't throw any chairs. He don't bitch and complain at the referees. He does this stupid ass thing with his hands like he's begging for change or something.
He pokes his lip out.
Yeah, it's all no else coach should do that dumb shit, man.
Only time he really wants to do something is when he's checked by a reporter, and then the next game he goes and gets a technical foul on basically nothing, and it's like, dude,
because of that,
you're not even paying attention. The only reason why you doing this is to show that hey, you are for your team, and you're not. And I still feel like, man, he definitely ain't for Zion. He never has been. Why does a reporter have to check you on someone who has the ability to get to the line? Do you all know that the only people in the league that are only that have the ability to get to the line is your stars? That's your true statement. When you look around the league, the guys that mostly go to the line are usually the star players.
It's unfathomable, man.
I got a stat for y'all. I found though.
Hold on, DC, just a second, bro. I want you to say your stat, but what was the famous line Willie Green said in reference to fouls?
Keeping his money in his pocket.
Right, go ahead, DC.
Y'all ain't gonna take no money out of my pockets. And he laughed after that.
Man, bump that chick in his pockets.
Like it's a joke.
You know what I'm saying? Because we know why you still here, Willie. We understand why you still here. You ready, Big Q? We all know.
Just to let y'all know,
right?
The Pelicans have 10 losses from 11.
I didn't say it. I was waiting for DC to say what he said, Big Q, dog. Come on, man.
Big Q, he jumping the gun.
I mean,
trigger happy.
More do you want from me?
Look, he pressing that button like Jackson Hayes.
We want the Perry Mason video when you do it. with that briefcase up there, and everybody's eyes get big when they see what's in that shit.
Oh my God, you've been pressing that button still.
You've been practicing,
Big Q.
Practicing.
You've been practicing. What about you, DC? You been saying it? Here, let me hear you say the
You know
part.
it, Lex. You know I've been
No,
doing.
for real. I want to hear you say it. Come on, you can do it. Come on, come on,
Come on,
DC.
DC, what you
Come
doing?
She
on,
talking to
DC.
you.
No, I'm talking to you, DC.
This
Oh
dude don't
shit!
even know who she's talking to.
I need to eat some more watermelon.
What you said? You need to eat some more water. Oh man,
DC
Watermelon.
back on the island.
dang man. That's
The secret contract. Or set that record, I think at least 3 or 4 times plus losses. Like you got to be fired. Like it ain't no coming back from that. Ain't no good coach gonna have that many 30, 40-point losses.
And
No
I'm
good
not
coach.
trying to be understanding with back-to-back games.
Man, listen, man. Tonight Pelicans get just returned. It'll be 2:30 tip off time on Sunday. This upcoming.
Yeah, man, they gotta mess up the middle of my Sunday.
It's the last game of the regular season for the Pelicans. 2:30 tip off time against the OKC Thunder. Will be live at
That
the
is
time.
messed up, man. So people
Game.
gotta watch the Pelicans get their ass kicked.
What'd you say?
We got to do this one real quick because, Hoffa, he hit it on the knob. Them daggone Timu contracts.
Hold up.
What?
Down the team.
That is completely
Hoffa really give it. Them DD's discount contracts.
Hey, hold up. Timu Najee been playing pretty goddamn good, okay?
We
They just signed Alfred Payton to a Timu contract, Lex. You can get some good stuff off of Timu if you look real hard.
The gum on the bottom of them Jordan's contracts.
Fact. Oh, the DD's discount contract.
Oh man, that's funny. That's like what's the one? Is the other? Man, we ain't gonna do that. We'll be here for another 30 minutes running down all these discounts.
Oh man, Slim Sauce said they signed players with coupons.
Groupon, that's what it is. Groupons, my brother.
My God.
Groupon.
Man,
Groupon ass contracts.
I don't know if everybody ready for that one.
Oh my God.
You know
Wait, how much he want? Oh, hold on, Miss Benson, go on your purse and get them coupons.
Got a Groupon, baby. What you get?
Look, hey, I got another one. Them interior design contracts.
Interior design.
Man, we got to be the only people who really like bank on the G League players actually turning into something.
And then you know what the crazy, you know what the crazy part about it is, DC? When next year switches, the philosophy of developing these G League players, watch how much time they spend in the G League and less on the Pelican squad. Watch how the philosophy shifts and how short the memory gets. Watch. These people are not consistent at what they do. They just use this just to get by. You're going to see, man. Pelicans haven't been consistent about much except for keeping Zion under restriction and all of the losing that they're doing. That is what they've been consistent at. Very horrible.
Finding a reason to shut him down. I knew they were. They were just hunting.
They had to, Lex. They had to.
No, but
Zion
you know
was playing at such a level that he was going to cost us some more wins we didn't need.
No.
That's true, too.
But these chicken heads, like, routine losing, isn't that what Kushner said? like how much dialed in, and I understand the picks and everything, but how much dialed into losing can you be?
Well, I don't think it was just the picks, though.
Because
the injuries.
The organization hasn't experienced true winning.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have. It's like, okay, you got a top pick and y'all still losing. 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, 6 years later. Now you getting a top pick. And then look, you still got these same Tweedledees and Tweedledums and you still losing? The purpose of getting a top pick is for what, you guys? Come on, y'all talk to me. What's the purpose of getting a top pick?
Typically, it's to
rebuild. Is it to stay losing?
It's to win.
Is it for the routine losing? that Kushner was talking about?
They right on schedule for routine losing.
What I'm saying is that you get a top pick, so you do not keep losing. All this routine losing. I don't want to lose. Why? You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, Lex. I had to get
I was for him shutting down Zion. Though after Trey went down, I was pissed about that. The last thing we want is Zion to get hurt, and there's nothing this season. But you're right though. They got a top pick, and they still been goddamn losing.
Man, I mean, but all I'm saying is that if you get a top pick and you're still dialed into the routine losing, what did you accomplish?
Not a damn thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my problem. That's why I just want to make that clear because, you know, it's just it's not the draft picks, y'all.
Don't hurt your mind.
We just have to understand why you're getting the top draft pick. And the purpose of getting the top draft pick is so that you don't have to keep losing.
Yeah, that's how it works with functional teams.
So that brings me back to, it's like it don't matter who you draft. It don't matter who you trade for. There's clowns in that office, and there's clowns on the sidelines, man. And if they don't change, if they don't change that, and that's eating me up. That's my biggest problem. It's not getting the draft pick. It's the fact that you get the draft pick and you still doing routine losing. Hecky no. Hecky no.
Hecky no.
I just no, man. Like something. I'm not tapped into losing, man. I'm not tapped into that. Cause even if like, hey, we gotta lose to get the top pick, dog, you still losing though. Cause you got that nigga up in here. You got that nigga up in here. You got that nigga up in there. They losers.
What's going on here?
That's the Pelicans. That's the Pelicans. That's the Pelicans dancing around in the.
I hope y'all do this on draft day.
Yeah, see, they got a color code. They got
the draft. This the draft war room.
Yeah, they got to make sure they dance. They got to line everything up. DC, they're dancing. They're very happy. And as you can see, you know, it's a wonderful time to be a Pelican in the front office. They've coordinated, worked on their steps, and I think the guy with the red pants on is Bryce. Is Graham? I think that's Graham. I think he coordinated.
That was the Rainbow Children. Dick Gregory used to talk about. I don't know.
That's the.
Hey, I also brought up something real quick. So over or under 35 wins next season.
I don't know.
I can't make a decision yet. I got to see what they do this offseason.
Okay, over under the, you know, they fired Willie this month.
This month?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's a tough one. You put some money on that shit. That go left or right.
I don't know.
Stacy said under.
Yeah.
Over under, you know, they get rid of.
I was probably more so for Willie than it is for Griffin, I think. So
Griffin Green.
I mean, he's gonna get fired, but like when they gonna do it though? When they gonna fire him? No, Q.
I don't know, bro.
They're not competent enough to fire him like right after
the end of the season. Well, that would be good because you can then go after your coach. You can, because those guys.
That's what competent teams do. They're not
available
competent enough to do that.
Well, I got another question. Who would y'all rather have, Mike Malone or Taylor Jenkins?
You got to go with the championship.
You know what? I would rather have whoever has the best plan for how they're going to utilize Zion. To be honest with you,
I'm gonna go with Malone.
I think either one of them can work.
Taylor Jenkins makes the best adjustments to me. I feel like Mike Malone, he is a hard-nosed, old-school type cat, but he had Jokic, and he really rided on Jokic because when Jokic sat down, he didn't really have a strong game plan when Jokic sat. And so I don't know if you all saw
Again,
those games.
but wasn't that because
I
of his
mean,
general manager
what about
having
his
the team in
roster though?
place?
Like, what did they
Yeah, right.
really have? I remember when Denver had like Mokeith Morris.
Right.
They had like a lot of people over there, and their bench was fire.
Right.
I mean,
And
It was
that's
but
what
I
happened.
fire.
mean,
That's why a lot of it happened.
You
That,
could
like,
see
at
they
the
was
end of
gonna
the
win a
season,
championship the way they was playing. I'm like,
he
damn,
was
the Denver's some
man
shit,
was complaining.
and they
McGlone was
got all them
complaining
guys out of there.
at the end of the year about getting those guys back, and that GM didn't want to do it. He wanted to go cheaper. Malone wanted those guys on the bench, and that just is one of
You
those
know
things
what?
that
Now, the more I think about it, I'm gonna say Mike Malone, and the reason is because I think that's what appeals to Zion.
the
Zion
Pelicans
is
will
old
have an
school when it
yeah,
opportunity
comes
to
to
get a
yeah,
coaching.
championship coach.
He
But
like
they
he
gonna have
like he
because
likes Stan Van Gundy. You
yeah,
know
he
what I'm
did
saying?
like Stan Van Gundy. He likes
right.
Coach K. And I don't know if y'all knew this or
Yeah, I'm,
not.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Mike,
You
man.
got
I
to
don't
go
know if y'all knew
Malone.
this.
Malone got a
I'm gonna.
championship
I
2
want to
years
add
ago,
on to
fam.
that, DC.
When the
But
Pelicans gonna get a
that
chance to
don't
win a
that don't matter
championship?
to me because to me it's we can't win a championship without Zion being bored and having somebody that's gonna fully utilize Zion. Taylor Jenkins is an awesome coach, but this year I don't think he maximized what he could do with Ja. I think that's part of the reason he probably got fired, as well as other stuff coming out. Maybe it could be something where they want to trade Ja. He might have been Ja's guy. We don't know, man. The Taylor Jenkins thing is weird, but nonetheless, I think Mike Malone fits Zion. And then Stacy pointed out too that I forgot that he coached DeMarcus Cousins, so he is used to guys that are supremely talented in the way that Zion is, and I'm pretty sure he'll be able to come in and have an offense and the team built around him in a very efficient and positive way.
Go ahead, Lex, and then we'll close out with your
Said
comment.
Mike Malone, the
Well,
only coach to get fired twice for winning.
yeah, that is crazy. But one thing I do want to say is that with understand Van Gundy, however anybody feels about him, you didn't hear nothing about Zion. You didn't hear a lot of negative or anything about Zion. He played 61 games that year, but the leadership of having a coach like an old school coach like that, you could see the effects because you never heard anything negative. So I think just from a leadership standpoint, that really helped him to have that because I mean Zion has said it. I mean, he's had that with all his coaches from college. Well, not Willie Green, obviously, but when he has an old school coach, you know, I just feel like, he responds in a positive way and he goes out there and he does what he needs to do. And I think really he's more of a professional than anything. Cause like I said, you didn't hear nothing. And if anybody did, please let me know. Cause I
and,
didn't hear nothing.
and another thing, Lex, Mike Malone has always been a coach. I always see the refs don't play with him. He stand up for his players. Mike Malone go after their ass.
Okay. Well,
And they
I
don't
like
be
that.
fake mad.
We definitely like that. We definitely love it.
We
Hey,
need
that's
somebody like. I'm
different.
not saying. I think Taylor Jenkins does too, but Mike
Yeah.
Malone, definitely. I think he's probably the more radical one when it comes to that.
Yeah.
He'll get
I
thrown
like
out of a
tough
game.
coaches.
He ain't worrying
Some
about keeping
does.
money in his pocket, to
Right.
protect his players.
Yeah, that's my take. My take
The
is
reason they say he lost the locker room because for whatever reason he had a high value and respect for Russ, and he stood up for Russ, and a lot of the other younger guys they didn't like that. And that caused them to lose the team because Russ wasn't playing so well.
Yeah.
mm,
That's what they say. That's why he lost the
mm.
locker
Well, all I can say is I don't know too many times Pelicans had an opportunity to get a coach with a championship. Just 2 years ago, not one that
room.
did
Doc
something
Rivers,
10
we
years
almost
ago.
got, and
Oh no,
Tyronn Lue.
no, you didn't have a shot at those guys,
They
man.
said that we didn't want to pay him enough. They said we could have got him. They didn't want to pay him enough.
They said Doc wanted to. He seen a better opportunity with whatchamacallit than he'd seen with the Pelicans. The word's out on David Griffin. Not too many people want to work with that guy because
Yeah.
he's
I
he's
mean,
over your shoulder all the
he's a
time.
butthole and he's a loser. You know?
Okay, thank you, Lex.
I'm sorry.
Let's give Clarence a round of applause for that. He's a butthole. That's right. He's an asshole. I'm gonna say
He's
the
no
whole
longer
thing.
a chicken head. He's a butthole
That's
now.
right. He
I'm
ain't no chicken
sorry,
head.
y'all. Did I say
He's
that
a
out loud?
butthole because he's full of shit.
That's right, DC.
He's allergic to winning, man, and he's allergic to people who got some backbone. And Mike Malone, if he's old school, you gonna be receiving some backbone. Yeah,
That's
especially
right.
if he got into it with the GM.
That's right, Knoxville. DC, could you break that down? A paw?
Oh, the
I'll
Paw
put your
Patrol.
ass weasel.
That is.
All right, we gotta leave it there, man. We gotta get out of here. We'll be back on Sunday, man, to go over some of these topics and open up the phone lines for the family members. Listen, that's the Pelicans season finale, Sunday, 2:30 tip-off time. PPR will be in the building on Sunday. Be there or be square. We'll open up the phone lines, fam. Whatever your thoughts on or what's going to happen in the off season, you'll have an opportunity to display all your topics and frustrations, commentary on PPR on Sunday, the season finale, last game of the Pelican season. Boy, it's been tough, but we've made it. But so with that being said, do us a service. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed, PPR. I know it's been a tough season, man, but we do our best to give you some good content when the Pelicans ain't doing nothing of the kind. So this ain't exactly easy, but we do have fun doing these streams when we kind of break things down. But anyway, with that being said, hit the notification bell. We'll holler at you on the next one. Much love. Go Pels. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network. For all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that. Birds of a feather flock together. Fly die, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. Ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best show us some respect. 3-point threat, I better make it rain. If it's up, then don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumper where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the ref just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostep. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly die, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.